I'm explaining this in a voice note because it'll be a little bit easier for me to go into detail about it. It's a lot to type otherwise. And also then I can share this in the main thread as well, and other people can hear it also. So I want to explain to you the gentle parenting mindset. It's a little bit different than how you're looking at things right now. And I'm really happy that you're here in the group, because then you get to hear about our philosophy and how we do things. It's a different way of looking at kids. It's a different way of working with kids than the mainstream. It's not like, the difference is it's not, gentle parenting is not mainstream parenting done more gently. It's actually a different way. When I do enter a gentle parenting relationship with my kid, I no longer hold the authority to take away their stuff to make them listen to me, because then I hold authority and power over them, and I'm using that power to control them. And so what I'm really teaching them, and here's the thing, what I'm teaching them from their perspective, because we always try and put ourselves in their shoes, right? Even if my intention is to teach them respect, from their perspective, what they're learning is, if somebody is stronger and has more power, because you have access to resources, you have the law on your side, you can push them in their room. They can't put you in your room, not yet, but we can put them in their room, right? And so we have all this power over them. We can take their stuff, whether they like it or not, and they have no recourse. And we can make them eat. We can withhold food from them, and until we get caught, maybe, or something. But we have all this power over them, and they know it. And so how we use that power teaches them about how to use power when you have power over somebody. And so what we're teaching them experientially is, when you have power, use it to control somebody against their will, so that it matches your expectations because you think you know better. And that's exactly what we do. We are adults, and we say over and over again on these posts, I know better because I'm an adult in my frontal lobe, etc., etc. Therefore, and maybe that's true, but the answer doesn't mean therefore I get to take their stuff away. No, this is the difference. What we do then is we say, okay, let's, instead of using any kind of force to change behavior, let's use relationship. Let's use communication. Let's use education, but it takes a little longer, and it's going to result in more mistakes. So let's understand and change our relationship to mistakes. Because when we were young, you couldn't make a mistake or you'd get in trouble. Okay, make it once, but twice, no. Well, what about 100 times? Learning is messy. And when every time we make a mistake, it's a little different because we learn a little something, but we're still going to make the same mistake over and over again. And that's just life. And I always say, learning is messy. Instead of avoiding the mess, let's get in the mess with our kids. Then we become their learning partners. And this is the other thing. Every single punishment, every single consequence, every single act of force, every single one results in kids protecting themselves from us. It may be just a little layer, but those layers add up. That's what small moments affect big ones means. SMABO, right? That's one of our acronyms. That we teach here is SMABO, S-M-A-B-O, small moments affect big ones. So little layers of consent violations, little layers of saying no, little layers of avoidable pain, little layers of denial of their own experience. And we don't even notice it, we just think it's normal parenting, but those layers add up. And they distance themselves from us, they protect themselves from us, and that's why you see, and I'm not making this up, post after 66,000 people we've been watching for many years, post after post after post, my kid won't listen to me. I've taken it away, they won't listen to me. I've restricted this, they won't listen to me. I told them this, they're still not listening to me. It's because the motivation is from the outside. It's different than a relationship-based motivation, and that's what we want to focus on. And maybe we've never experienced that before, so okay, so now we do it differently, but it's different enough that it requires an effort to slow down, to change those patterns. Even the idea of saying, if you're not following with your word, you won't get this until you do that. It still requires an authority figure. It's different than saying, here's a few things that need to get done in the house, and I can't do all of them. And we all would love to contribute together. What can we do? And of course, the balance of that and how that works is always in fluid motion throughout the years. But if we make that something that is something beautiful together, it feels good. As soon as it doesn't feel good, it's not cooperation anymore. It's coercion, it's force. Cooperation, even when it's hard, it feels good. Like when my mom and my sister got sick and they were in the hospital and then they needed recovery time. And I gave up everything for a few months. I couldn't do anything, and I just took care of them. I left my family. I left Sujai and Margie at the time doing the work, mostly carrying the load because I just was spending all my time caring for them. And it was very intense. And it was not like the funnest thing I could have been doing, even though we had a good time. But it was the whole time I did it, I knew it was the right thing for me to do. And I did it because it was fulfilling, even though it was hard. And that can only come from relationship. That didn't come from duty. If it was duty, I wouldn't have felt that sense of lightness about it, right? That would have been duty, heavy. But because what I felt was relationship, love from my family, a sense of the rightness of caring for them in their vulnerable state. My family had that, having all of us living that way for 20 years, because my kid's 23 now, and been treated this way from the beginning with none of this force, just understands that sense of caring for others naturally, because that's how she's always been. That's what she's experienced all her life. And she's like, of course, go to Granny. I'll miss you. But I'll bear that pain for her, of course. It makes sense. That's what we do for each other, And this is something that you can't get. You can't get that kind of thing in the long term through any kind of force. So I really urge you to look through the units, read the units, check out the Gentle Parents Unite podcast. There's so much really good information out there about how to release these things, and that'll be great. It'll really deepen your study, and keep looking for ways you can let go of more and more force. Look for different areas, and just keep releasing it, and you'll find soon that you'll have a brand new relationship with your kids. It might take a year or two to get really set in the new patterns, because it takes a while to take the transition. But don't give up. Stick with it. Keep asking questions. Keep asking your kids for help. They're the best, It's like, is this making you happy or is this making you sad? And if they say it's making you sad, say, okay, how can we do this in a different way? Simple. It's a simple question. Just ask them that. How can we do this in a different way? I don't want to make you sad. Of course, I'm your mom. What am I saying? I don't want to make you sad. I want to make you happy. But I also want this to happen. How can we do it so we're all happy? Because, of course, this is the focus, right? For us to be happy. And then that's the focus. And you don't deviate from that. That happiness has to be... That happiness in us as a family, that that has to be our priority, that we're caring about each other's feelings that way, and we focus on that, And it takes time to develop those patterns, because there's a lot of letting go of certain patterns and then rewriting of new patterns. But I believe in you, and I believe in everyone that's listening to this. You can do it. It's inside all of us. That kind of resilience, that kind of love, that kind of unconditional acceptance, and the ability to collaborate. It's inside of all of us. We can do it. That's what this post is pointing to. It's pointing to collaboration. It's pointing to fierce collaboration. Not just like, collaboration, whimsy flimsy. No, it's fierce. It's hard work. You have to dig into your guts. And you have to dig into your past. You have to dig into your future. It's gut-wrenching, blood-sweating work. Sujai and I are always crying to each other on the phone. We work so hard on ourselves. Honestly, that's how we are with each other. Or how could we guide so many people in this if we weren't deep in the process ourselves? So this is work, and I've been doing this for 23 years, still digging every day, right? So dig for that collaboration, let go of the coercion. You can do it. I believe in you. We're here to support you, and we love you.